Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a wonderful day. As always, leaving comments, leaving a like or subscribing, all of these things do help the channel out very much. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Another very weird day in the cryptocurrency space. I'm going to work a little bit backwards so that I can get you to where we currently are right now. It says inflation in the United States continues to rise as it climbed at its fastest rate in 40 years since February 1982. Statistics from the U.S. Labor Department's Consumer Price Index, or the CPI, jumped by 7.5% higher than it was just a year ago on Thursday. The U.S. Labor Department published its CPI report, which shows inflation is not abating anytime soon. The Consumer Price Index essentially measures the average change over time that U.S. citizens pay for a basket of assorted consumer goods. The CPI for all the items jumped 0.6% last month, which increased the country's overall inflation by 7.5% since this time last year. Moreover, core inflation rose to 6%, and data further indicates that the citizens' salaries increased by only 0.1% on the month. We've gone over this multiple times. It's not that it's new news, it's that it's still terrible old news that has been going on for the last 2 years. We've talked about a couple of times on this channel how the cost of meat, the cost of milk, the cost of bread, and the other daily things that you see on the little charts of what should be eaten have all gone up tremendously. We were just talking about yesterday how the prices of rent have gone up across the United States. If you didn't see the last video, have a little check it out, because I think the numbers are anywhere between 24 to 48% over the last 12 months just within the United States alone, while people's paychecks and salaries have not gone up at all. This is absolutely terrible. And the really crazy part is that it's only going to continue to happen. So now, bringing you a little bit further into the current discussion, the news has sparked a great number of conversations on forums and social media. The co-founder of the exchange Gemini, his name is Cameron Winklevoss, said it was an opportune time for Bitcoin. He said inflation hit 7.5% in January. Winklevoss tweeted, "The highest in 4 decades, it continues to accelerate. The best way to shield yourself from this pernicious selling tax on your life's work is Bitcoin." And there's a chart right here. I found the actual website with the numbers, but it looks like it's from 1994. Everything is squished over to one side. The text size is really weird, and you can't even get an actual idea of what they're trying to say. So they have a larger chart right here so you can see all the numbers and things like that. Now, here's the other. First of all, of course, this was major news, and it is in the price news because it has to do with the price of the cryptocurrency market. We know that inflation is here, regardless of how many times that we were lied to by the Federal Reserve last year and the year before that inflation was not going to be a problem. They were still going to reach their 1 to 2% goal of yearly inflation. And then by the time we got the numbers that it was around 7%, they went, well, maybe it's a slight problem, but we can figure out how to actually deal with it. Here's another article for it right here. Yeah, this is a huge, gigantic increase. Now, here's the really weird part. Historically, you might notice this is an article from 2013. Historically, and this has happened ever since, I want to say around 2012 to around 2000. It should be, I want to say, the very last day of 2019. That is a proper, actual, good number time frame. Anytime that something, an historic event, something that destroyed an economy, a banking system, inflation anywhere else in the world, anytime any of these events took place, Bitcoin's price would rise. And I mean like a nice, sharp rise. As for those of you who don't know, not trying to make fun or mocking at all, I always say now that the people only care about Bitcoin's price. The original idea of Bitcoin was to completely get away from the old system. We now have the technology to be able to do so. We no longer have to touch the old system at all if we want to. We have a way to take out debt, to take out loans, to use money, to use it instantaneously. We have stable coins, we have Bitcoin, we even have Liquid, and Lightning Network to actually use these currencies as much as we want. So the entire idea of the old system no longer actually is relevant. We also went over this before when it came to the idea of stable coins. I don't necessarily believe in stable coins per se, as they just are another digital mimic of the US dollar. However, we've seen that while banks in the United States and many other places around the world have a yearly interest rate of 0.01%, and I think one of them even bragged that over the course of a 5-year period, it was 0.03. Fantastic. Stable coins will still have a yearly interest rate of anywhere from 7 to 15 to 20% in some cases. You're getting the point. So when I had information that my friends were sending me this message as I was going to sleep last night, that all this consumer index news was coming out and that U.S. inflation had continued to rise, I was like, there's clearly, I'm going to wake up and Bitcoin is up by 15, 25, 35%. No. Surprise. Bitcoin actually fell quite heavily. And I'll show you the charts, of course. There was a very dramatic drop. Now, we've gone over the idea of manipulation in the cryptocurrency market for a very long time. And this is why I gave you the time frame 2012 to the very last day of 2019. I'm not sure if we've entered some type of a parallel dimension where every single time that something terrible goes wrong with the traditional financial system that Bitcoin also has to fall down. But that's currently where we are. And I showed you this article because this is the one that stuck out in my head the most. This is when I first began hearing about Bitcoin on the news. I would hear it every now and again, and I would go, what is that thing? Kind of got me into the cryptocurrency space. There was a situation years ago, and this happened multiple times, but this one happened in Cyprus. They were having a banking crisis. Money was disappearing. People couldn't withdraw money. The same exact thing was happening in Lebanon just a couple of years ago as well. And Bitcoin reacted appropriately. People moved away from the old system because they went, hey, the bank can still take our money. Hey, the bank can still freeze our accounts. This is why whenever we have news that another institution, another bank, another corporation is getting into the space, I say pay attention to why they're doing this. Not only are they accumulating tons of Bitcoin for themselves, but they also want your transactions to go through their systems so that at any point they'll be able to actually stop your Bitcoin transactions from hitting their system or going anywhere else, and they'll be able to confiscate your Bitcoin. And that's the exact opposite of the point of Bitcoin, because you're supposed to be able to use it between you and whichever other person that you want at will, with no one being able to stop your transactions. So at the moment, the weirdest thing in the entire world, the cryptocurrency market actually fell, and it fell the moment this news came out. You're actually able to see in the charts prices were going up, and they slammed directly down. They went up for about a good 6-hour period and then have moved back down once again. Nothing hyper dramatic. They're only the major coins are roughly down around between 1, 2, and 3 or so percent, somewhere around there. But the fact that we keep getting news, I'm not sure exactly. I've jokingly told you before, I'm pretty sure that it's whales in some sort of capacity. We've had news for a number of years now that there are a lot of people who left the original stock markets and have moved into the cryptocurrency markets. Historically, you would see that if inflation was rising, you would see the value of stocks, bonds, and other assets beginning to fall, as was devaluing the US dollar, and therefore people were taking out their money as quickly as they could to try and find alternative investments to be able to make more money. Why the value of Bitcoin fell and other cryptocurrencies is completely lost to me at this time. So yeah, US inflation continues to rise. Bitcoin should roughly be around $85,000 right now. We're also getting a lot of news from major banks around the world who are either buying up tons of Bitcoin or just simply trying to scare people out of the market, that Bitcoin's true value should be somewhere around in the 20,000s. No one should be using Bitcoin. Bitcoin is only for criminals. And there's also little news articles of these companies and these banks, usually just banks, floating around that they're also thinking about potentially making their own digital currency because it would be a lot safer than using decentralized currencies. Very weird. Incredibly weird. On any type of news that we've had before, that the old system was crumbling, which it is. And this is before we even had actual like major numbers like really floating around out there, or had so many people actually into the cryptocurrency space. I'm really not sure if it's just simply whale activity, which we're also going to get into in a couple of seconds, as far as they see that a certain thing has happened in the news that could push up Bitcoin's price, and therefore they make it go down so that they have a chance to accumulate more. Or is it simply that there's so many new people in the market, and this is anywhere from retail to very heavy-handed or heavy-pocketed investors who kind of really get scared when they see this kind of news, and they just assume that Bitcoin is another stock market, which is another conversation that I've had to have with many people, because you've also heard this as well. People will usually say, how much Bitcoin stock should I buy? And you have to explain to them that Bitcoin isn't a stock, it's a currency. And they'll still ask, okay, what other stocks should I get? Like, should I get Ethereum? Should I get ZERP? Like they keep saying all these really. So I think a lot of people just don't understand the market, have no intention of understanding the market. And I think it's one of the largest missed opportunities probably that we will ever have in our lifetimes. Because once again, people just care about the bottom dollar as opposed to learning what this is actually for. On news that we got that the US dollar is crumbling, Bitcoin should have skyrocketed by at least 15% in the same exact time period. However, of course, not to be left out of the news, crypto analytics firm Santiment says huge whales have been gobbling up Bitcoin since the end of 2021. Santiment notes on Twitter that mega whale addresses holding 1,000 Bitcoin or more have added a combined 220,000 Bitcoin, more than 1% of Bitcoin supply in 7 weeks since the 23rd of December. The analytics firm said that this is the largest mega whale Bitcoin accumulation since September of 2019. Here's a chart right here. Doesn't it seem weird that over the course of the last 5 months, every single time that Bitcoin has dipped, every single time, we get news that whales, the richest people on the planet, are buying up huge amounts of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price continues to drop as we get terrible news from events happening around the world, and even namely, I mean, the old cherry on top of the moldy cake is that the US dollar is actually losing its reign, losing its power over what it's had over the last 60, 70 years. Bitcoin whales are continuing to accumulate like we've never seen before. This all has to be some type of backhanded trickery, because there's nothing else that would make any actual sense anymore. Bitcoin's correlation to any other asset, I think, is also and can be completely planned by people who have enough money in the space to move the market down at their own whim, to basically show, oh no, there's definitely some form of correlation when there actually shouldn't be. And the thought of Bitcoin even dropping in price when we have news that inflation was bad last year, inflation's still bad this year. And once again, keeping in mind, this is the world reserve currency that's doing bad. So, it says Bitcoin reverses initial losses as US inflation jumps more than expected. I wish I had the actual price chart, because it was really weird to show the movement. I found one optimistic article, which was kind of nice. It says Ethereum is up by 28% over the past few weeks. How high can it fly? I mean, I guess that's up to the whales and, and I guess Bitcoin at this point, because there's nothing holding the market back. There's absolutely nothing holding the market back except for people who decide to keep the market down or whatever the actual case might be. Yeah, very weird, right? I know. I know. You don't have to tell me. It's incredibly weird, especially if you've been in the market for a very long time. Any time that we had any news, and it didn't even have to do with the US dollar or anything. If we had news that something was amiss in some other country, or their banking system was starting to collapse, or people weren't able to take out their money, or this was happening, or inflation hit 21% in some other country, we would have news days later of the exact amount of people within that country who had moved to cryptocurrency exchanges, who had tried to move their money into Bitcoin ATMs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we would have seen an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% spike in Bitcoin's price from smaller countries. And I mean that both size and economically compared to the United States. So yeah, something is amiss. I know many other channels will not tell you that. I do watch some other cryptocurrency channels just to see what they're kind of talking about. And a lot of it is basically, Anyway, so that's the price news, at least at the moment. Will the market react normally and move us up in price by Monday? Not really sure, because nothing has really made sense in this market for a number of years. I know that 19 could even be seen as a contributing factor to a lot of this, but no, I think a lot of it is just whale activity. And then I still firmly believe it has to do with the fact that these rich people have seen in their own charts that Bitcoin is supposed to hit $1 million, whether it be in 2030, 2035, the year 2042. But they're trying to squeeze out as many other smaller players as possible to once again keep all the wealth as centralized as possible amongst themselves. Alrighty. That's all the price news. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, in the most popular news, this was even more popular than the US inflation news, if you can believe it. Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange by trading volume, is making a strategic investment in the 104-year-old Forbes magazine to improve consumer understanding of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Forbes and Magnum Opus Acquisition Limited, what a name, a publicly traded special purpose acquisition company, or an SPAC, officially announced on Thursday about securing a $200 million strategic investment from Binance. Forbes previously announced plans to go public through a business combination with Magnum Opus in August of last year, with the deal expected to close in Q1 of this year. Binance's strategic investment will be through Binance's assumption of subscription agreements representing $200 million of commitments to the $400 million private investment in public equity that was announced along with Forbes' intentions to go public. This is the most popular news story of the day. Why? I wish I could tell you. So the news is, as you just heard, apparently Binance has put forth $200 million to invest in Forbes. Forbes is apparently planning on going public. There's no actual real news what the deal is. Is Binance trying to integrate Forbes onto their website? Is Binance going to start taking out a couple of pages per week with cryptocurrency columns? What is the exact point of this? I'm not really sure. It could be something no more than Binance believes in Forbes, and therefore they want a slice of the pie as Forbes ends up going public. However, this is, you can even kind of even see the charts right over here. See these really weird dips? Yeah, I know, doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, this was here we go again, right here. Yeah, all these little dips. The most popular news story of the day. I think it's fascinating that they're taking the time out of their schedule to invest such a huge amount of money into Forbes. Sure. Why not? Once again, no news as to if Forbes is going to have a cryptocurrency exchange, if Forbes is going to be linked to the Binance NFT platform. What exactly this is going to do, I feel like it's really nothing more than Binance trying to invest a little bit outside of the cryptocurrency space, as they are the largest crypto exchange on the planet and probably have huge amounts of money that need to go somewhere. But yeah, most popular news of the day. I myself haven't read Forbes in a number of years since, do you remember, I remember this, flying a lot, and I used to always go to the little magazine shop that was always next to the actual door before you enter the plane, and I would buy 4 or 5 magazines, but I haven't bought a magazine and it's been a long time. I kind of just read stuff on my phone now because we're in the future. Anyway, that's the Binance is investing quite heavily into Forbes news. tons of excitement around this topic, sure. And yeah, that's the Binance news. Let's move on. All right, this is getting a little hot news. In a new chapter of the EOS community versus the creators saga, the EOS Network Foundation's founder and community-elected CEO, his name is Yves LaRose, revealed that they are preparing for a legal war against EOS creator Block One. According to LaRose, they are reviewing any potential legal action to seek $4.1 billion in damages. Does that number sound familiar? $4 billion is how much Block One raised during their ICO. Currently, it says, the EOS leader maintained that a Canadian law firm is working with them to explore what legal action they can take against the original developers of EOS. And here's the tweet right here. In a blog post, the foundation announced that many members of the EOS community are very dissatisfied with Block One. It says Block One has not kept its word, that is an understatement, regarding past promises, and that both the community and individual EOS users have been harmed as a result. So, this has been a long, it definitely is a saga at this point. The situation is, for those of you who missed it, I'll try and paraphrase quite quickly. In 2017, there was a number of ICOs floating around the cryptocurrency space. EOS was one of them. The idea of EOS was that it would be the quickest, best, fastest, newest version of Ethereum. We've heard that thousands of times before, and this is why I remain quite skeptical on any coin that comes out openly from the gate and say, hey, we are here to dismantle Ethereum. Just simply do it. You can be kind of quiet about it. The thing is that EOS actually raised the most of any ICO ever on this planet. It was around $4 billion, thus the $4.1 billion in damages apparently they are seeking. The people from EOS, and we heard this multiple times across podcasts from the community, not the community, from the actual creators of it, or so I used to talk about on the channel through the news, was that apparently there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of companies, corporations, people building on top of the EOS network, therefore allowing tons of airdrops to be happening almost on a daily basis for a very long time. The more EOS, the story was, the more EOS that you held, the more airdrops there would be. The more airdrops that there were, the more people would start hoarding EOS, and therefore the higher EOS's price will go. It was even expected by the end of 2017 or 2018 that one EOS would be roughly around $1,000. It made a lot of sense mathematically off of all the promises that were kind of allegedly thrown out there to the community. Since then, nothing has happened. Not a gosh darn thing. The most, I think, things that stick in my head from EOS were they had 21 block producers. We had news at the very beginning that allegedly 3 of the people who were producing blocks on the chain had actually paid their way into being a block producer. There was also them paying, what was it, 50, 40 something million dollars for a website name. They tried to launch Voice, which was a social media platform, which I told you all nobody was going to use after we got news. One of the ways to verify yourself was by giving away your ID and your passport information. I was like, no one's going to actually go for that. And then they announced, was it last year or the year before that they were changing Voice into an NFT platform, which also didn't happen. And then something else was supposed to have happened in the last couple of months, and no one knows what happened to that $4 billion, except for the fact that the EOS community came together and voted to actually block all funds hitting the wallets or the accounts of the creators because they allegedly haven't done a gosh darn thing. So yeah, now it has escalated. This is getting pretty spicy because I wonder exactly, can this go through? Will this happen? Are they able to receive $4.1 billion from Block One? Does Block One even still have all that money? How are they going to acquire all that money? It says hashtag $4 billion DAO coming. Yeah, I'm not too sure of any of this anymore. For those of you who are wondering, yes, I still do hold EOS because I used to listen to what the creators said. I used to listen to all the all the talks and stuff like that. So I still have my EOS. If they're able to pull this off and have $4 billion in an actual DAO that would then go to the actual holders of EOS, I think that'd be quite significant. But as we've seen before, just in the real world and also in the cryptocurrency space, anything legal tends to take a number of years. So I feel this is going to wrap EOS in another XRP, Ripple, SEC kind of situation where it takes like 4 to 5 years to actually get this settled. Unless they're able to, I mean, now hear me out on this one. I don't know how this works because I'm not a developer. If you're able to block the funds that Block One would have received, is it not possible to simply have the community vote on absorbing that wallet? Is that a possibility? Simply because if EOS goes through any type of a 4-year legal anything, the coin will completely collapse. The same exact way that XRP is hanging on by like dental floss at this point. Anyway, so that's the EOS news. Not the most popular news story, but this did make a couple of headlines as this continues to go on. Here we go, right here, the 2017 ICO. Yeah. Good luck. I tip my digital hat to thee. This is not something that I would want to be at the head of because it just sounds stressful. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news today, popular trading app Robinhood is turning its attention to international expansion, a strategy that will also see the San Francisco-based company shift much of its focus on cryptocurrencies, according to Steve Quirk, the company's chief brokerage officer. There we go. According to Quirk, the company is doing a lot of exploration about finding compliant ways to expand the list of supported crypto assets. Giving you a little backstory, Robinhood became popularer during the entire AMC GameStop fiasco. We've gone over that thousands of times. Around that same exact time when they had Dogecoin in their platform, Dogecoin was doing exceedingly well until people realized that they couldn't take out their Dogecoin in the platform. They weren't really holding Dogecoin, whatever the actual story might have allegedly been. Since then, people are still using Robinhood, but it's not as popular as it once was before. We had news for about 6 months now. There's a petition going around. I assume it's nixed at this point. Going around that the Shiba Inu community wanted Robinhood to list Shiba Inu onto their platform. They kept on saying, wait, no, because apparently the US SEC had come forward and said that they didn't have proper regulatory clarity to list as many coins on their platform as they wanted to. This led to a drop in Shiba Inu's price, and people were really upset with Robinhood. So it appears that, just based off of sheer logic and money, Robinhood is now trying to go international. Why? Because for some reason, the US of SEC still has not given proper cryptocurrency regulation across the board, but many other countries have. And I mean, just explicitly normal type of regulation. So I assume that Robinhood is trying to go international because they are going to then be able to list as many coins as they want on many other platforms. So I assume I give it by the middle of the summer, because I'm sure these pieces of paperwork have already been put in with other countries. We are probably going to have news that Robinhood, hear me out, Robinhood has opened up officially in the UK, somewhere in Europe, I'll say Switzerland and Germany, maybe in Australia, maybe Singapore and a couple of other places. And then we will have news that Robinhood is listing around 17 different coins. Random number, but it sounds correct, doesn't it? Listing around 17 different new coins, but they will all be exclusive to international markets. And the US will have no access to them because, lack of regulations. They said we also have aspirations to take this brand global, and we would do so crypto first. When asked to explain what he meant by crypto first, because I assume the other guy doesn't speak English, given the presence of Coinbase and other major cryptocurrencies in the space, Quirk said that the path for Robinhood to go global and have the most traction is probably through crypto. It just seems completely logical. Everyone else knows, everyone knows that cryptocurrencies are the future. Doesn't matter which coin you believe in, which you have. We know that this is going to be the future of finance in some sort of way, whether it look completely different in 20 years and still have the name crypto attached to it, or just being an extension of this ridiculous market that we currently have right now. So Robinhood, of course, is trying to make more money. We had earnings report from Robinhood for the last 2 years, and I think they were looking a little bit shaky as people were pulling back from investing on their app just in general, but also from the entire Dogecoin fiasco that was going on. So this was quite popular. A lot of people have renewed optimism in Robinhood. Why people, and I'm going to use the nice way of saying this, why you're hanging on to Robinhood so intently, that's a nice way of saying it. I may never know. Every coin that people want to trade, they are already on every other cryptocurrency exchange. You have the choice and the option right now to go on to many other cryptocurrency exchanges and buy the coins that you want that Robinhood does not have. Even more so, do you want to use it on your phone, your tablet as you're on the train so you look really cool, trading stocks and stuff like that? You can do that on your phone, not affiliated in any way with many other cryptocurrency exchanges. So I hope that Robinhood expands, and I mean have the greatest expansion in the entire world. Please go to like 9 other different countries. Please announce that you're listing all these other coins so that we can stop talking about you in the news, because it's Robinhood. Like I don't really. All right, that's the Robinhood news. Fantastic. Can't wait for them to be crypto first. And let's move on. Also in the news, while Miami's mayor, Francis Suarez, told the public he was a big believer in Bitcoin and has accepted his pay in Bitcoin, at the same time, a crypto coin called Miami Coin was launched in Miami. What? The Miami Coins project's goal was to give Miami citizens and supporters the power to support, improve, and program the Magic City. However, after reaching 5 cents per unit in the 20th of September of last year, the crypto asset Miami Coin has shed more than 88% in value against the US dollar. So apparently, I believe $5 million worth of Miami Coin has been created, has been received from the project. This reminds me a lot of many other coins that came out years ago. You might remember, this was 2017, maybe 2018. There was a coin called Dubai Coin. I think it wasn't even created by anyone who actually owns Dubai. It was simply meant to be a currency that was created that could be used within Dubai, and money would circulate just within that ecosystem. And that was kind of meant to be the idea of it. So now we also have Miami Coin. And I'm certain there are people out there who definitely try to invest in this. These things historically do not take off. These things have also happened in a physical form. There are a lot of countries and within the cities, especially if the districts in a city has a lower economic level. I don't know what words I'm putting together, but you understand what I'm saying. Like if you've ever been to London, have you ever been to Brixton? You should go to Brixton. I used to live in Brixton. They have like Brixton bucks. I think they're called Brixton, but I don't know what they're called. And you see people using them sometimes, and that's meant to just circulate that money within that ecosystem. But it doesn't really catch on when you can simply also just use a pound or tap your card. And this will kind of be the exact same thing. I wonder what the main purpose of this is. I understand it's meant to help the community, help the so-and-so, and allow people to, but who's this money going to? Is it going to people who are disenfranchised in the city? Probably not. Is it just going to people who are into cryptocurrencies who have already invested into the coin? Is it like a staking thing? Is it if I hold more Miami Coin, do I get more Miami Coin that's coming out of the system? These projects will fail as time continues to go on. It is highly unlikely that there are going to be, and I think it even says it somewhere around here. Yes, It's highly unlikely that New York is going to adopt a Miami coin. As it says on the screen for those of you who aren't looking, it says Miami coin has lost 88% of its value. Philadelphia is now ready to proceed with Philly coin. Remember when JP Morgan Chase was trying to create their own digital coin asset called JP Morgan coin, terrible name, and they were trying to get Bank of America and other banks to use it, and I was like, that's never going to happen because banks want to create their own thing and have other banks use it because whoever is getting their thing used is getting the transaction money volume from that. You know, the little extra transaction fee, they're getting it. So when you have something called Miami coin, it's very unlikely that the people in Hollywood are going to be using Miami coin because they were trying to make a Hollywood coin. Anyway, I don't know what more to say. This was also news that was floating around news, as a lot of people were quite excited about Miami coin. I try to be as real and honest with you as possible. More of these are going to pop up. By the end of the year, expect around 10 of them around the world are going to pop up. And then about 5 years, no one's going to be using any of these coins because realistically, the coins that are going to make it and be used the most are going to be the ones that have the highest transaction volumes and have the highest market caps on our market right now. And they will simply be integrated into the other systems that we keep on hearing about every single day, as you are able to buy just about everything in the world with Bitcoin and a number of other cryptocurrencies through many other platforms. So just always try not to jump into hype. Try to think a little bit further. If I created a TMI coin, do you think I could get other crypto YouTubers to use TMI coin, or would they simply create their own coin? Who is going to use TMI coin outside of the TMI ecosystem? Anyway, that's the Miami coin news. Palm trees. Hot weather. All right. That's the Miami news. And let's move on. And to finish things off, and the cycle continues once again, after criticizing Bitcoin and altcoins, Zambia's central bank said it will complete its central bank digital currency research by the end of this year. Does anyone care? No, not really. This continuously happens over and over. It's the way that I think that governments work. I think that they think, I don't know what it is, that they're being clever in some sort of way. If I say enough negative things about it, people will think negatively about it. And then we can go 1-2 punch. Hey, here's our crappy currency, but digitized, and it's made by us, and therefore you can definitely trust it. So on a daily basis, this ends up being like, and I mean an actual daily basis, this actually ends up being news, not about Zambia, in particular, but every other country out there. Once again, still confused why this actually ends up making very popular news within the cryptocurrency space. I don't know if the people writing these articles don't understand the difference between a decentralized currency, a cryptocurrency, or a digital currency that is made by a country known as a central bank digital currency. I think it's because they probably hear that they're made on blockchain, that they think it's like viable news that has to then be reported. Because it's made on a blockchain, we talk about blockchains, and therefore Bitcoin is on a blockchain. It's all the same kind of news. No, once again, my friends out there, have no fear of central bank digital currencies because they are just digital versions of the garbage that we already have. And they're only going to get worse, especially because inflation will still take place for these digital currencies. But the gigantic red flag in the sky is that governments will have an immediate way to be able to freeze your wallet, your bank accounts, and everything else. This was even spoken about a number of years ago, for those of you who remember. It happened multiple times. One of them was a U.S. survey, kind of Senate, congressional something. People were sitting down talking into a microphone, where one of the people was asking, what are the benefits of a digital US dollar? And one of the guys was like, are we at any point able, if the stock market's dropping too much and we see people trying to move their money or pull their money out of it, would we be able to hit a big red button and stop all the transactions? And the guy was like, absolutely. You'd be able to stop all transactions, let people cool off a bit. And then as, the stock market began to move back up, you would unfreeze their accounts and people would probably throw their money back in the market. And he was like, good. Okay, thank you. No more questions. So yeah, every country, especially the ones who over the last 4 years have taken their time to imagine taking time out of your day to talk negatively about something that you keep claiming that you don't actually care about. Why do these countries waste so much time talking negatively about Bitcoin and Ethereum when we all knew that they were secretly buying cryptocurrencies in the background? So as it stands right now, this is another country who is, so anti-crypto that they now have to make their own digital currency because that just seems to be the flow of how things are. Anyway, so yeah. And I mean, like, actually every day this ends up making it into the news, especially like the really weird news. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's happening in the country that's beneath Russia. There's so many articles talking about how many people are using their digital currency and how great it is for the economy. And I'm like, you're just spreading propaganda, right? Alrighty. Let's move on. As always, what is up with that website? Wow. A very special thank you to my Patreon. Here's that dip right there. As the news came out that the US dollar had inflated, there was this drop right here. Why was there a drop when we found out that the US dollar was collapsing? Question mark. It shot back up and then since then has been moving back down. Little weird, right? GBU Wally, formerly known as Professor Wally, Darren Davis, How's Life Austin, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on. Chris, Hakeem Wilkins, Empire Queen, Stake It With Valor, Fudd, Wiser, Mortified, Roman, Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealer's Den, Red Plump Tomato, Umnu, Wish Nikki, The Letter M, Not Brain, Captain Something and the Z-Way Lay, Crypto, Black Sheep, AJ Cut 5, Speedy655, and Carlos Was Like, Mo Barazi, Jojo Shaw Show, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grelay, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Bare Bones Mining, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Conan, Don't Skip Leg Day, Snacky Chan, Tolek Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal, Reader, Ebibliophobia, Todd, Mullis, Adam, Graysick, Mohamaroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cody 3D, Damien, Setsuna, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness Monks Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your continued support. I do mean that. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel who clicked the little join button below. Thank you to everyone who is an art supporter. I do thank all of you for the recent support. Thank you to everyone who left a like, who has commented, or has subscribed. At the moment, Bitcoin is currently at $43,364. It is down by 2.28%. It should not be down at all, but at least we are not down by 15%, which would have been the most redonkulous thing in the entire world if Bitcoin had actually fallen off of news that once again, the US dollar is dwindling. Ethereum is currently at $3,093. Much of the market is in red except for the stable coins because they're stable coins. I think there were two coins that managed to buck the trend. Ethereum Classic is currently up by 4.7 percentile points. And the other one was Theta, which is up by 13% as well. Very weird day. I would love a cryptocurrency market that reacted with logic. But I feel like we're in some really weird timeline, and I'm not sure how to get us back. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day. a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for listening, watching, supporting, and just being fun. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.